Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show today. It's going to be a bit spicy, a little bit spicy, a little bit,
Uh-oh.
but that's okay. That's okay. We'll be nice tomorrow. How about that? Is that
Spicy meatball.
it's a spicy meatball for sure. How you doing, Thunder? What's going on, dude?
Nothing. I'm having a good day. Spent the day with the wife. We had some good food and just hanging out. It's been nice. It's really nice here. I don't know about the rest of the world, but the weather here for the last week really has just been gorgeous.
It's been rainy and humid here as usual. Kind of a gray weekend, but I just stayed home this weekend. I didn't do anything really. I went and get ice cream. Baskin Robbins had a new flavor. It wasn't very good. Oh well.
No, not very
No,
good.
no. That's one thing. There are a few things I miss from being back home, right?
Uh huh.
When you kind of travel and leave your home, there's always some nostalgia things. For me, it's all food related. Fuck the
Yeah,
people. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and
And just everywhere. In fact, just
yeah, that's
as a
true.
rule.
That's as a rule, as a rule. But one of the things Rhode Island does really well is ice cream. I don't know if people
Oh,
understood that, but New England area is kind of where your hamburger phenomena came out of. Clam chowders from my hometown, actually, coffee ice creams from my state, etc. But Rhode Island does ice cream and sausages really well, especially the wieners and the soggies and things like that. But I do miss the homemade ice cream, dude, because there's like a homemade ice cream shop like every few blocks, right? And some really good ice cream. I do miss that, and it's sad that here in Japan, the closest thing I can get to it is a Baskin Robbins.
oh, that's really sad because
It is
Baskin
sad.
Robbins is gross.
Yeah,
Not a
well, it's all
fan.
right.
I'm not a big ice cream person anyway. Like it's just not for me. I don't have a big sweet tooth, but I don't like Baskin Robbins. Every time I've been there, I wasn't impressed.
No, it's not great. I do like the mint chocolate chip. The thing is, I only get ice cream every couple of months or so, right? It's certainly on a list of stuff I shouldn't eat much, so I don't, right? But I do like ice cream. So every couple of months, my wife take a ride, and we just sit down and have some Baskin Robbins and enjoy all the young couples and the kids, and it's fun, right? And a lot of the people, when I go to the Baskin Robbins in my town, they know who I am, right? The adults are a bit shy to come up to me, but the kids aren't, right? So they come up and Cheto Sensei, like and I chat with them and I play with them and stuff like that. So it's kind of an event when I go out to the Baskin Robbins. But they had a new peanut chocolate thing, and it had no sweet at all. I don't like the super sweet things. I'm not a sweet tooth guy. I like more, so I don't mind an ice cream that's leaning a little more savory. But this one didn't have had no sweet at all. It wasn't good. Oh well. I had my mint chocolate chip too, though. I got double scoop.
Oh my, that is a lot of ice cream, Chester.
Well, my wife and
That
I
is a lot.
usually share a double scoop together,
Yeah.
and therefore it's no big deal. I usually get my mint chocolate chip on the bottom, and she gets whatever she wants on top, and I usually taste it and just kind of dig around it. But this one wasn't good. She didn't like it, so she went and got something of her own, and I actually ate the whole double scoop myself. It is rare, but because usually we share it, but it's all right. But I do miss the ice cream. I do indeed miss the ice cream. But let me come over here and hit the like button in the shares. And hopefully you guys will do the same. And welcome to everybody. I have to get up my chat here to see who's in here. Ooh, there we go. And we'll share this out on the Facebook. I don't really use the Twitter anymore or the Facebook and stuff. I should just get rid of them, but I don't know. Whatever. These jerk offs.
I still have a very small Twitter. My Facebook, both I and my wife are permanently banned. They banned my IP, so I mean, I probably could make one, but I'd have to do it on a different place.
Right.
Um, but I just don't care enough. Like, what am I really missing on Facebook?
Yeah, no,
And
I don't use it. I never did use it, but I just had it up because. So.
yeah, my Twitter, I don't really do anything on it, but like other people's posts. That's about the breadth and the width of my Twitter. Occasionally, I'll retweet something, but that's about the breadth and the width of it. I just don't miss social media.
No, I don't
Yeah, I
either.
got so used to it for so long, and now that I don't have it, I'm just like, I'm good. I don't want it. I have no desire. Because here's what happens with me with social media, Chester. If you haven't noticed, I like to argue.
Yes, you do. Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fan of it, and that's just what happens. I always just end up in arguments. So as much as I like to argue, eventually it becomes less enjoyable. Plus, you also notice that argumentation, at least on the internet, well, specifically on the internet, actually makes you worse at arguing. It makes you worse at debating because of two reasons. One, when you're on the internet, you get time to think. Whereas if you're in an argument, you don't have time to sit there and think out your response.
That's true.
You have to be able to think, boom, 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 come up with logical arguments.
I got a shocking thing for you. I was a member of the debate club.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned by that revelation.
It's amazing. Isn't it?
And then the other thing that it does is when you're not debating someone face to face, you're much more brazen than you would be, or at least other people typically are, than you would be normally. And that also makes you worse at presenting your argument. So
that's true. No, that is true. And that's one of the reasons why I promote board games and tabletop stuff so much. It's an easy way to teach yourself and your children how to socially interact. It's a very easy format for that, because these SNS or social media and various things have caused people to, one, not be able to interact with each other in a civil manner, clearly.
Yes.
And two, make you a dullard, because you don't understand how much it irritates me on a daily basis when I see so many of this improper grammar and misspelling.
That's what I've come to embrace. I embrace that Twitter specifically. Facebook, I wouldn't say as such, because you can actually have plenty of space to use proper grammar and diction and things. But Twitter, you don't, right? You only have 140 or whatever it is, 280, whatever the character limit is. It's ridiculously small. You can't make a cogent argument in that amount of times, typically, unless it's about something very simple. So grammar has to be what's sacrificed. I personally, if I'm going to put on the TFT for a minute, I think that was 100% intentional by the powers that be. They want us to be dullards. They want us to be so simplistically minded that we can't possibly resist their psyops, because that's what it's all about. It's about controlling your thoughts.
I saw something today, though, and it doesn't apply because it was a single letter. They said it was yesterday. I use it.
Oh,
it hurt. It was painful.
That does hurt. That's bad. Yeah, I mean, unless you're like Indian or something, you can't get away with completely improper conjugation. And Indians only can because their accents are hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true. That's fair. They get a pass as long as they're bobbing their head side to side. It's a pass.
Yes. Yes.
It is unique to them. That is cool. Roger's in here. Hello, Roger. Lady Celtic Moon. Yeah, I saw that, lady. I thought it was just your site where you were doing art, is what I thought it was. Me Grimlock King, who should be in here with us, says mint chocolate chip is the work of Satan. No, it's awesome. Screw you, Grimlock. How's that? I think I told him. We got Curious 2A in here as well. And awesome. Now, like I said, today we got some pretty spicy stuff on there. Are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready for the spice. I have been accused. It's completely untrue with me, but since I'm a white person, I have to bear the racial shame of not liking spicy food. For some reason, that's a stereotype, regardless of the fact that Europeans literally started effectively world wars trying to conquer places that had different kinds of spices.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. It is. I don't know what you talk about. The British people eat spicy food all the time. But I love spicy food. I don't get that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but have you tasted British food? It is horrendous. It shouldn't even be called food, because it seems like the leftover parts after you're done making the food. That's what it seems like to me.
The chat is enjoying throwing bad grammar at me, thinking it's upsetting me. They're not going to win. They're going to win. Anyway, let's get into it today. We do have some stuff. Of course, I'm going to start out with some tabletop game stuff, as I usually do. So we'll start soft, and it will grow. It will grow. So let me go over here and share. And we'll get into it. Now, I'm going to start out with a card game, which you guys might think is odd. It's like, Chester, why are you choosing such a lame ass, standard ass base game? Well, here's the thing. Uno is exactly what I just said it is. But Uno is very interesting because it took some earlier card game mechanics and turned into one of the most successful IPs in history. I mean, everyone knows Uno. It's all over the world. Everybody can play it. And the interesting thing is, even though Uno was set up off of previous Trump type games, um, uh, Uno itself has influenced so much that it you can't go without, you can't ignore it. You have to acknowledge what it is, because there's two mechanics you see in board games, video games, that just come up all the time. One is rock paper scissors, right? Which oddly enough is originally a Japanese game that the soldiers brought back home. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I didn't know that either. The other one is Uno, and its color systems, and its the way it interacts. A lot of games have taken off of Uno and used it in their game as far as some kind of accumulation mechanic, or some way to resolution mechanic or something like that. So Uno is far more influential than you might expect. And of course, it's a lot of fun, easy to play, and I use it in my schools, especially with little kids, because one, that they enjoy it. They love playing Uno. But at the same time, I always make them speak everything out that they're doing, right? So it's color practice, it's number practice, even a little bit of word practice, right? So it's very useful for an English teacher, especially with little kids, and especially with me, particularly being ESL teacher, English as a second language teacher. It's very useful game. And I have a whole bunch of games in my school, and all of them are educational worthy, because one of the things as a teacher, and if we have any teachers in here, you'll understand what I'm saying. If the kids are having fun and laughing and enjoying themselves, they're not realizing they're learning. And that is the perfect element in for them to learn successfully, right? And these kind of games are great for that. And Uno is perfect. And another thing that's really interesting about Uno is the fact is how many divergence there are with it. Now, I just brought up this page. I didn't even know Walmart had a homepage, but I found this here. And look at all the different things. We got different colored Unos. We have Rick and Morty Uno, which, oh well. Uno Flip, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Looks like two-sided Uno deck. It's interesting. Uno Junior. What is this? Minions one. The Princesses.
Yeah, there's a ton of
Spider-Man.
different Unos.
Mm.
I'm not really sure why. I think it's kind of one of those things where they kind of cracked the nut the first time, so I'm not really sure why they keep bringing in more
Well,
nuts. But hey, whatever.
I have four different types of Unos at my school. They all come in these boxes. Yeah, I have the standard Uno. I have the Toy Story Uno. I have the Speed Racer Uno, of course. And I think One Piece. Is that the one I have? One Piece, right? So, and of course, these are all things that Japanese would like. There are many, many more, as you can see as I'm scrolling through here. However, the thing they do is it all works the same, but they'll add a couple of cards, usually in the black suit, the wild suit, that have a different type of mechanic, right? And some of them are, noisy, and some of them are good. I wouldn't mind having it in the regular, But there's a Zelda one. It just adds a color theme, and you got to keep in mind these are little kids, right? And for them to see something they like or something they know, it just makes it more fun for them. So I know with, say, Monopoly and all the different mechanics and the IPs they put on top of it, it's noisy, and I don't think it's necessary. Uno, on the other hand, I think works really well. So, and I'm actually at a kind of a, how life kind of comes in cycles, and you have to buy new things every so many years, whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
I'm in that cycle with my games at school, so I need to buy a new Candyland, a new Shoots and Ladder, some new Uno packs because they're getting kind of old. I'm in that cycle right now. So, but yeah, I know it's weird for me to be talking about Uno. I get it, but I really value Uno, not only as a teacher, but just as the importance of the game. Because, like I said, it's had huge influence on so many other games. And good on them, dude. And it's very successful. And like I have this Toy Story one here. This is a little newer than the one I have, but then you've got a WWE one right there. But and I really think Uno's great, and the fact that they put so many labels on it, where Thundero's, protesting that, which I get, it actually works with Uno. Other things it doesn't as much, but in this case it does. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to talk about Uno, and I'm sure everyone here has played the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uno's a good time. It's especially a good time when you get a whole bunch of reverse cards or like plus fours or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Japanese actually play it slightly different than we do. Or at least when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, we play Uno by the rules, what it said. But over here, I find they do things different. Like if they have two or three draw twos in their hand, they'll drop them all at the same time. And if you have one in your hand, you could pass it on to the next person. And this can go around a table and have one person get 6 or 7 draw twos or something like that, right? They do those kind of things. They'll play double letters. I mean, double numbers as well. They do. It's a little bit different here. Now I don't know. Maybe it's evolved that way in the West too. I don't know. I haven't been there, right? Because there was a huge chunk of my life where I didn't watch TV or play games or go to the movies. I was out in the world, right? So I don't know. However, I kind of the one in the play in my school is a little bit in between. But of between the West and the East, but whatever. GOP says, "I want to combine Risk and Monopoly. It's like speed running for losing friends." Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. Sounds like a bad idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our first real story. But yeah, man, I mean, Uno, yeah, it's good. Hope you have a copy at home. All right, deep breath. Here we go.
Uh-oh, here it comes. Tim Allen slams Biden administration for disgraced Afghanistan withdrawal, offers deep prayers to families of Marines recently killed in Kabul.
Okay. Now, first of all, I agree with Mr. Allen, but I tend to agree with Mr. Allen
He's a pretty smart
because
guy. Yeah.
he and I are very similar thinking people.
Yeah.
However,
You both did lots of coke when you were younger. Yeah,
that's
I get
fair
it. I get where
enough.
you're coming from.
Fair enough. But it kind of falls under the same category though. Okay, Mr. Allen, I agree with you. But we also got to keep in mind that we all really wish that these celebrities would shut up, right? And even though I agree with
Yep.
Mr. Allen, we don't need your opinion. We really don't. You know, I just trying to acknowledge that because we say this all the time, and we're right to say so. It applies
Yes.
this way too. Even the stuff we agree, we don't need Tim Allen's opinion. Now, I don't know where this happened. It might have been an interview or something. It looks like that's on the set of with Jay Leno's Garage, which he does a lot of stuff. He's a big car guy like Jay, and they're friends.
Yeah.
It could have just something that popped up in an interview. It couldn't. It's not necessarily something he just threw out there into the world, right? No, he did. Here, okay. So he sent a tweet. All right, fine. Everyone's got to have an opinion on the tweet. Well, I agree with him, but I just shut up. The Marine says, we can confirm at this time that 11 Marines were killed in the line of duty at Hamid Karzai International Airport. This is an update to the information we were provided yesterday. Yeah, no, it sucks. The reason I put this up here,
I think what we need to have is a moratorium on people whose job, whether they've had whether they have respectful beliefs or not,
yeah,
whose job is to tell stories for a living, to lie for a living. That's what acting is.
Yeah.
Presenting their opinions without being asked, without being encouraged to.
Yeah.
We need a whole moratorium on that for, I'd say, at least 5 years minimum, and just stop. Just, I understand they're people, fine. They can be people. In private, they can tell you anything they want. But in public, unless asked, now if you're asked, you're asked. That's different. Unless asked, you should not be given your opinion.
Yeah.
And even then, you can probably be like a Keanu Reeves or somebody else who would just say, I won't answer that. That's not my place.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's the thing. 'Cause I'm not knocking on Tim Allen at all. I like Tim Allen quite a bit.
Me too.
Just like Woods, who is also tends to agree with me. But I think it's important that even the ones we agree with, we acknowledge. We just need these celebrities to shut up. We just really do, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm not knocking on Tim Allen. I'm just saying we don't really need your opinion. You might say that's not fair. They're a person just like the rest of us. They get to have their opinion.
Then they can have their
Yeah,
opinion in the same level that most people can have their opinion with their family and friends.
yeah, that's right.
They have that's the double-edged sword of leftists making everything political.
Yeah,
These people have platforms, as the left loves to use that term. Okay, then I don't want to hear from them at all on these matters because one, most of them are completely unqualified to be making a public declaration on matters public that affect the public. Even if it's just a generic pray for the families type statement, I get that. I get it. I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you people. You mean less than nothing to me, other than the fact that you're entertainers and you're humans.
yeah.
Besides that, you're no authority. And I don't want you to behave as such or to use your platform to pretend to be as such.
Yeah, Joe, I would not use the word moratorium myself. You know I'm a libertarian, so I
That's a
wouldn't
good
actually
word,
want to
though. I
put,
like that
it is a
word.
great word.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to put any kind of legal aspects on it. That's not what I mean personally. What I mean is, you know, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
That's right.
And you should back up. That's what I'm saying
Correct.
because they have a platform that we don't have. That's the point. Would I put a rule on it? Never, never.
I think we can have unwritten social rules that we used to have, by the way, for many famous people. They didn't involve themselves in things.
Yeah, intentionally so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should go back to that. I think it's healthier for society, for famous people to leave activism out of the thing that makes them famous or whatever. It's just better for everybody because, like I was saying, they're just not authorities most of the time. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're really smart. They put the work in. They put the time in, and now they have an opinion and they're presenting it. Okay, fine. But if you haven't done that, and Tim, I probably has not in this matter, you shouldn't be out there speaking. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but you should first of all, let the families grieve. Let them be. If you want to talk to them, send them something in private. I think that would actually, some of them would probably be pretty grateful to hear from a Tim Allen, right?
Yeah,
That'd be pretty cool.
this first one is like that. It is.
Yeah,
Darkness fills my head and heart, the loss of our Marines. All of us adrift in the wake of ignorant leader. Well, it's a little bit of political. This
yeah,
one's a little better. He is simply just, thoughts and prayers. Then he's responding to the United States Marine Corps. And once again, I agree with him 100%. And
yeah.
most of this is very much conciliatory from his point of view. But I just and now he's getting really political down here. But I think it's more of we just want to have some silence. Let the
Yes.
celebrities sit over there and let the people work it out. And I get your point, Joe, but
Their
maybe you should
job,
try
their
to understand
duty,
our point too.
I would say their duty as a citizen of this country or the world in general, if they are an entertainer, that has a responsibility. And I think one of those responsibilities needs to be a air of neutrality. On most things, truly abominable things, of course they can have an opinion. I'm not saying they can't have an opinion. I'm saying they don't need to air it publicly.
Yeah, and besides, Joe, they're not private citizens. They're not.
Yeah.
They are public identities.
Public
They
figures.
are
In fact, there's
celebrities.
literally different laws for if they slander you or if I slander you.
Yes, and
They
there's
already
also
have these.
and there's also already a different justice system for them, right?
Yes.
I'm really not knocking on Tim Allen. I like him, and I agree with it. He said 100%. That's
Me
not
too.
the point.
Yeah.
They have a podium that we don't have, and it's an unfair advantage. And
Correct.
the point I'm trying to make is the ones I really want to shut up are the leftists. But you can't
Yeah.
call for their silence and not his
That's
as
right.
well.
That's right. It would be censorship then
That's right.
if we were telling them to shut up and then letting our people run their mouth. I would say the same about Trump before he became a politician. Back in the day, I think that rule would apply. It should apply to anybody. Now, politicians, no, I want you to talk. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation, politician. Tell me all your thoughts. I want to know all of them because I want to know who's in charge, who's pulling the levers. You understand? Whereas a celebrity, an actor, a comedian, or whatever Tim Allen is these days, I don't care. But other people do, and because of that, I would rather they just be quiet. Simple as that. As far as a politician, no. They need to. I don't want that. I think personally, if I could rewrite the laws, you become a politician, you lose privacy. You're done. You don't have privacy for as long as your term is. Period. I don't care what it is. You don't get a private email account. You don't get a private cell phone. You can have privacy in your home, but I want to know what you're saying in that home. I'm full-on terroristically fascistic against public figures. I want to make it so expensive personally to be a politician in America that only people who want to do good would even consider it.
Yeah, that would be
because
nice. It already is.
All the bad people won't put up with that, right? They're not going to deal with that shit. But somebody who actually wants to do good for the other people, yeah, it'd be like getting signed up to the military. Because when you're in the military, you got basically no rights. I mean, there's a few, but by and large, you don't have anywhere near the same rights as a civilian does.
That is true. Yeah.
Why are politicians held to a lower standard than we hold to the military when their decisions affect far more people, do way more damage than our military on average does?
Yeah, well, Joe, I'm not demanding anything. I'm requesting. Yeah. But I get your point, I guess, but I don't agree. I think they have a pulpit, and we really need silence now. But anyway, I just want to put that up. Not really for Tim Allen, more just the absolute debacle that's going on in Afghanistan is the reason I put this up here, really. Because not only did we leave all those munitions, not only did we leave so many American citizens as well as people we worked with, not only did we do all of that, they got out at this stupid arbitrary deadline and leaving those people there as hostages, right? Not only that, now this dumbass administration is giving aid to the Taliban.
Correct. Yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, it's insane. It's the whole thing.
It is insane.
And then Biden gets up and talks about what a great job he did. Now that doesn't shock me. Politicians do that shit all the time.
They shouldn't be allowed to, but yeah.
It's a straight up debacle, dude. I mean, it's really really bad. And I didn't know that the conversation would lean more to Tim Allen. My thing was really about Afghanistan. But well, whatever. Either way, I stand by my opinions.
I would say this. I think my principle is that free speech is not free, and that we shouldn't even, in honesty, I think it was a mistake to call it free speech because that's not what they meant. What they meant was honest and open discourse. That's what they meant. Yeah. The ability to speak freely with each other, openly with each other, but in honesty. That's why slander and libel laws exist. But I would take that further. If you're a public figure, if you are classified by law as a public figure, and Tim Allen is, you do not have the ability to lie anymore in public. I'm sorry, but if you do, there's punitive measures that can be taken against you. Now, you can be wrong. That's totally different than a lie. And I'm not saying Tim was lying here. I don't think he was. That's completely different topic.
He's being very honest. He's basically being conciliatory.
But Biden, like you're talking about, that should be punishable. That should be actionable for his open lying that him and his administration have been doing. And so should Trump's. So should everybody's. No more lies. Period. I don't care who it is. I don't care what side they're on. If they're telling you lies and trying to convince you they're the truth, and then damage is done because of them, like, 14 Marines dying, no, somebody needs to be held accountable for that legally.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah. And Alan, I don't think that's conspiracy theory at all. I bet you that was definitely part of the deal.
Yeah.
No, I think it was. Because it's very clear, not listening to Biden, but listening to his people. It's very clear to me that they're trying to make a working relationship with the Taliban. That's what they're trying to do. For them to, with not only the aid and the monies that they're giving, for them to leave all that weaponry for them, I wouldn't be shocked if that was part of the deal at all.
Absolutely, it was.
And of course, what they've done, and we've seen them break this rule already. America has a few steadfast rules. One of them being we do not negotiate with terrorists.
Correct.
Plain and simple.
Well, we're supposed to not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and of course Obama broke that rule, as is of course Biden. But in a way, I think Trump broke it as well.
Yeah. Oh, he absolutely did. I mean, Trump. Listen, I like Donald Trump. I think he was probably the best. I say probably, but probably was the best president of my lifetime. That being said, he's still a war criminal and should be treated like a war criminal. What we allowed to happen in Yemen was a tragedy equal to the Holocaust.
Yeah, no one
Period.
even talks about it. Yeah,
no one even talks about it. Yeah. America was involved with directly a genocide over the last 6 years, and no one even talks about it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy stuff like that that's going on, dude, and no one's talking about it. I mean, it's worse here in Japan. There's never anything negative on the news. It's all rainbows and sunshine over here. But yeah, freedom costs $1.05. Elrod says, it's bad, guys. And of course, Joe, they're trying to destroy the Bill of Rights anyway, if you haven't noticed.
Yes. There's something that the founders understood, James Madison specifically, the man who wrote much of it, that only the righteous can be free. Only a good and moral people are worthy or capable of freedom. Everybody else will eventually be enslaved to somebody else or something else. Yeah. All throughout history, we've seen it. As soon as moral standards wane and wax, freedom goes away, because you can't have freedom without sovereignty. You can't have sovereignty unequal. If not everybody's sovereign, then not everybody can be free. That's just tyranny.
Yeah, that's
just one group over the other.
And we're definitely in difficult times right now, without question. Keep in mind, it's only been 7 months. Look what this administration has done in 7 months. I mean, and juxtaposed to Trump, the last president we had, look what he did in 7 months. I was shockingly successful. I still can't believe the things he was able to accomplish. But just as a comparison, I mean, there's plenty of other presidents we could talk about. And the funny thing is, the more nonsense we see as time goes by, the better Bill Clinton looks.
Well, did you see the tweet? You probably didn't see this, but yesterday or the day before, Rose McGowan, that she's gone off the rails, right? She tweeted to Hillary Clinton something to the effect, alluding to that her and Bill Clinton have had sex. And I'm not sure what to do with that information, other than I'm very certain that's what she was implying.
Well, yeah, no, Rose McGowan, keep in mind where she's coming from. That is an absolute slut on high heel wheels, dude. I mean, that girl slept with everybody, and she's unhinged. Fox News are absolute idiots putting her on there just because she decided to 180 her opinion. She's insane. We don't need her opinion any more than we need any other celebrity's opinion. Keep in mind, she's the one of the people, other than Woody Allen's ex-wife there, that really pushed the Me Too crap, which we see how well that went. Right.
Well, I'll be fair to her though. She kind of got stabbed in the back by a bunch of people, because she was really she was one of the big ones pushing it.
Yeah.
And then they spun it off into something else that effectively just turned into a basic donation campaign for Democrats.
It's always about
that's all it was.
Dude. That's all it ever is. These are all grifters. They're all grifters, and she's a true believer because she's insane. Pay attention for half a second, you'll see it. And the thing, once again, with that whole Rose McGowan and all the rest of them, you can't sit here and complain about your slutty behavior and getting paid for it. You are literally a whore. Literally a whore.
Yeah.
That's not even being degrading language. That's exactly by definition what you are. Now, if we want to talk about the fact that your slutty behavior is unacceptable and their lecherous behavior is unacceptable, fine. That's fine. We can have that conversation. And you know what? I'd agree with you, right? You shouldn't be doing that shit. But you can't turn around and then blame the lecher for your whoredom. You can't. What are you doing?
Correct.
But it's all stupid, and of course it's all about making money. But anyway, let's move on to some of the other stuff, because really what I want to get into today, I just had to mention this, right?
Yeah.
But what I really want to get into today is the poor little Asians. Little Asians.
What's happened to the most populous people on the planet? What's happened?
They're just tread upon, Fundero.
Oh no, it is rough being the smartest and also the most populous people on the world.
Yeah,
I could see how that's trouble, especially in America where they make like all the money.
Yeah,
I could see how that's. I mean, that's rough. That's got to be hard being rich in America.
This right here is rich. Go ahead.
Shang-Chi Actress Michelle Yeoh claims Jackie Chan disagreed with women in films until she kicked his butt. Okay,
Okay.
wait a minute. Calm down, Michelle. Relax. First of all,
Relax.
Jackie isn't a real fighter.
No, he's a
He's
circus
really
guy,
good at he's really good at making it look like he is, but he's not a real fighter.
and neither are you.
And neither are you. So calm down.
Goodness gracious. But this is the dumbest thing, and she means it too. But here's the thing, because she's going on about how Jackie Chan is a chauvinist and he thinks women should be in the kitchen and all this kind of nonsense.
Terrible.
And
What a monster for being like a
well,
75-year-old man who thinks like a
but
75-year-old.
but he doesn't think that way, and he never has, and he didn't think that way before he met her in one of the police stories, like Police Story 4 or 5 is where he met her for the
Yeah.
first time. Jackie's never thought that way. I've seen very early interviews with Jackie praising women and wanting more women to get involved in the industry. Jackie's never been like that. Jackie's problem when it comes to women is women love
He
him
likes them.
and he gives them the dick.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's
Like,
his problem. Yeah.
just all of it. Like ridiculous. Like he might be worse of a lecher than Bill Clinton, from
He
what
is
I
bad.
understand.
Jackie's bad.
Yeah.
Let's and straight
Listen, hey, I can't blame Jackie. If I was rich and a decently looking man like him, like what he was, especially when he was younger, he was a good looking dude in great shape.
up. Oh yeah.
Why not?
And he's
You
more.
can't blame him.
He's a legend before, even when he was young.
Yeah.
He was a legend.
Yeah.
Because the Asians, particularly in Hong Kong, when Bruce died, they were desperate for to have that back because Bruce was really starting to. There had been Asians before that had gotten into Hollywood and stuff. It wasn't as if Asians were unknown, but Bruce really was making headway, right? And of
Yeah.
course, he died, in a very stupid way, and it was very depressing. And you had so many people come out and try to copy or emulate Bruce. Jackie didn't, and we got to give credit to his agent because he was going to do the same thing, but his agent's like, no, 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 no. You should play in your strengths. You're good at being comedic, physically comedic. He said you should do that, and he listened, and therefore Jackie Chan was born, right? Because keep in mind, Jackie was actually in a Bruce Lee movie. He got his ass kicked. He played a Japanese, very believably.
Yes.
But the thing is, Jackie has his faults. He's clearly not a good father either. He's been some people say he's been blackmailed into supporting the CCP, although I've seen plenty of things before where I think Jackie believes in that stuff. So there's plenty of things you can get on Jackie about. One thing you can't get on Jackie about is him not liking women because clearly he loves women. And I've
Yeah.
heard him myself before I ever knew who you were, Miss Yo, saying positive things about women and wanted to see more in the industry. I've heard him say this with his own mouth, right?
Mhm.
So this is dumb, and no one's going to believe you kicked anybody's butt. You this scrawny little thing. You didn't kick anyone's butt, so stop it, dumbass.
I don't think she
And
could kick her own butt.
yeah, and no, and here's another thing. All these YouTubers out there that are somehow pronounce the thing Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi. All of
Yeah,
you
I don't know where they're
idiots,
getting that from.
maybe it's in the movie, but it's not. I went because I was like, huh, and I went and checked the kanji or the s in this case. I went and
Yeah.
checked it. It's not Shang-Chi, it's Shang-Chi. We say
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, fair enough. It's not 100%, but are you going to be the the absolute dickhead that comes up and says Rodriguez? Is that you? Is
Yes,
that you?
Rodriguez.
Right?
Ramon. We have to trill all our R's when we're speaking in
Screw
English.
that. It's Rodriguez. We're English speakers. That's how we
Yes.
pronounce shit. So it's not
That's right.
Shang-Chi, it's Shang-Chi. The proper pronunciation is Shang-Chi, but it's not Shong. You're
And
wrong.
Shang-Chi
Knock it
sounds
off.
way better.
Stop it.
Shang-Chi
Yeah,
than
well,
Shang-Chi or
But
whatever.
that's
It
how
just sounds
we've
better.
always said it. It's always
Yeah.
been Shang-Chi. So stop that shit. But beyond that, this is dumb. This is dumb, Michelle. And the thing is, she used to be cool, but she sucked down that. What pill color am I supposed to use in this situation?
She has sucked down the blue pill.
The blue
you
pill.
see.
Okay.
That's the blue pill. Yeah.
Because she used to be cool, and now she's all about this shit, dude. And
That's right. Yeah.
no, you should be happy that he. Police Story 3. That's the one. You should be happy that the dude had you in his movie. I mean,
Yes.
you should be happy because he helped make your name, right? Because you did China, you were doing stuff in China, but the Hong Kong people didn't hardly know who you were. and he brought you to the world. You know why? Because he wanted more women in movies and he thought you were worthy. So you're sitting here busting a guy's chops who actually gave you an opportunity. How nice of you. What a bitch, right? Jackie.
Look at Jackie Chan dressed.
Yeah, I remember this movie too. It's one of his typical Hong Kong crap. There a pink pill? I would say curious, but I mean this is insulting. This is insulting, Miss Yao. Stop it. Stop it. Legend of Dicking Master 2. Stay in the kitchen. I mean, it'd be one thing if Jackie really was that way and you're like, all right, fine, that's Jackie. Because, like Thundero said, a 70-something-year-old dude thinking that way, all right, fine. But he literally doesn't. So and the fact that you were in Police Story 3 proves it.
Correct.
God. All right, whatever. Moving on.
Silly.
But poor
It's
little
silliness.
Asians, right? Poor little Asians, right?
They are put upon.
They
Chester.
are.
They're very
It's
abused.
so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad. All right, here we got another one. Here we go.
Shang-Chi's Simu Liu, I think is how you say that nonsense, claims, I thought playing a guy that gets beaten up by a main character was the pinnacle for Asian actors. I don't understand what world they live in, but it is clearly not the one I've lived in my whole life.
No.
Because Jackie Chan is the perfect example of how that's nonsense. Those are nonsense words said by a nonsense man.
We already
Bruce
went
Lee,
through a list.
I mean, we got lists for days. We got more Asian actors who have been dominant in action movies than probably black actors, if we're going to be honest. Like, think about it for a second.
Yeah.
In mainstream big budget action movies, yeah, I would say probably. Or close to it.
I think there are probably more world famous Asian actors than black ones. That's true. Yep. Yeah. Maybe not inside America itself, but worldwide, that's probably true.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think, like, who's like the big black action star, even in the last 20 years. I got Will Smith is probably the biggest one. Well, yeah, but Wesley hasn't in the last 20 years. His career ended right after Blade, pretty much, and then he went and got thrown in jail.
Yeah, that was kind of nonsense too. But
yeah,
you got to pay your taxes, I guess. But this guy's look at this idiot. I mean, let's pick some obscure one. The one I missed the first time, Egg Shen. Right, Big Trouble in Little China. That's Kurt Russell piece for sure, and he's awesome. That is an awesome, fun movie. But did Egg Shen get beat upon? He was the man. He was the dude. Freaking Egg Shen. And what he had his 7 demon bag. What was it called?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
I don't remember.
But does he really think that we're going to believe his bullshit and forget all the amazing Asian actors? Did whoever beat Bruce Lee? Whoever. Name one person who beat Bruce Lee in his movie. Name it.
In Bruce's movies?
Never.
I don't think anybody.
No.
He was in, I think he was in like a Chuck Norris movie or something, and they had a fight in one of those, and he lost. But, like, that wasn't his movie. He was just making a cameo, right? Like, it's not the same thing. He's not the star of the movie. There are plenty of movies with Asian leads, with them as the star, and they just go in and they kick ass. Yeah. And there's literally nobody is complaining about that.
No.
Because most of the time they're good movies. Like freaking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Won an Oscar. One of the best kung fu movies ever made.
That was good. It was a fun movie.
I didn't see a bunch of white dudes rolling up in there just beating down the Asian guys because that's just the way Hollywood does things. Guys, that's just how it's done.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. This statement is nonsense, and I don't know why he keeps doubling down on this shit. This is will show audiences the first time an aspirational Asian hero. Get in line, dude.
Yes.
And he just goes on and on and on. He's an idiot, dude. Now, let's be fair. This movie went out there, and it made $80 million in its opening.
Yep.
Okay. So,
which is actually not that good, though.
No, it's not. They lost money. If this was an indie film, that would have been great. They would have been made money
Yes.
and been happy. But this, of course, they probably lost $100 million or
Yep.
200 million, right?
And it
Because
wasn't released also on streaming services at the same time,
no,
so they don't even get back end revenue from that. So yeah, this thing is losing money unless for some reason the second week it blows up and go, which has happened like once or twice in movie history. But I don't think this will be the film to pull that feat off. I just call me crazy.
no,
I
no,
don't think this is
because
the one.
all the critics are kind of the same thing. The first act is awesome. The
Yeah.
second act is boring. The third act is confusing, which is,
Yes.
there you go.
That's
And
par for the course for Marvel movies as of late. I'd say it's kind of the same way with Black Panther, where the first act and a half is pretty good. You get to see more of Wakanda. They do a little world building. Killmonger gets presented. Everything kind of makes sense, and then everything just goes off the rails. And that's what it sounds like happened here. So the
Yeah.
beginning, from I was watching, Drinker was streaming earlier, Critical Drinker,
Yeah.
and he was giving like a brief review before he does a full review video later.
Yeah.
And he was saying basically that the first like third of the movie, whatever it is, with him and his father, the story back and forth there is really good. It's really good. And then the rest of it just falls apart because they tried to cram way too much stuff into this martial arts movie. Which all it should have been was a martial arts, against his daddy movie type shit, right? And
yeah,
it turns into like an epic freaking like kung fu battle in another dimension. And like what? Wait a minute, guys, what happened here?
yeah. And Leon Lung there, Tony Lung, whatever you guys call him. He's getting praised because he's the best thing in the movie, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, maybe for Americans he's not as well known, but internationally he's a legend, right? That guy. He's an amazingly good actor.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised he killed it because that's what he does. But I just can't get over this idiot. Is there no one around him saying, dude, is there
I don't know.
nobody?
Like, just show him some pictures. Get a Jet. Just get like a Jet Li and a Jackie and a Chow Yun Fat and a Donnie Yen and just some guys and just kind of like lay them out. Like, just put pictures. Like, do you know who any of these guys are? And if he says yes, well then you know he's just complete. Maybe he doesn't. Hey, maybe he's being legitimate. Maybe he has lived such a sheltered life for some reason. This man that he's never seen these films. He just doesn't know who they are.
Yeah. And that would be sad if that were true because
It would be very sad.
it would be very, very sad. But just another idiot. And keep in mind that this movie is not going to make its money back. Is it as bad a failure as some of the other ones? Like Black Widow was a major flop, right? No, but this is yet another Marvel movie that's lost money, right?
Yeah.
And all this nonsense about putting on Disney Plus and getting back revenue. Where? How does it apply? People are already spending money on it. That money is
Yes.
not all of a sudden allocated just because you move something there. That's not how that shit works.
The way it works, though, is if they can say it was a big number to the shareholders, then that looks good for that.
Well, okay, fine.
That's what I meant by that. Whereas when they put it out for release, they have to wait to be able to do that with like sales, digital sales, DVD sales, whatever.
When they're talking to the shareholders, then if they're going to say, "Oh no, this wasn't the problem," what was the problem then? Because clearly they're losing money, so you're gonna have to give them some sacrificial goat, right?
Well, it'll be the director, or it'll be this guy's not as big of a star as we thought, or the pandemic. See, COVID is just so bad. Nobody wants to go see a movie.
Yeah. Now,
blah blah blah,
blah blah blah. Not for nothing. YouTube unsubbed me. Yes, they do. Anytime I get near to 1,000, I lose 100 subs. Yeah. I know. And I was getting up there. And that's what happened. I'm back down to 930 something now. But that's okay. That's my relationship with YouTube. My daughter, not for nothing though, my daughter did go watch it in the movie theater with her friends, and she said that it was Wakanda.
Yep. See,
and that wasn't a positive. That was a negative.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I heard too. I was hearing people making comparisons more to Black Panther. It was like an Asian Black Panther instead of just what could have been a really cool kung fu movie.
And they should have stuck to the first part, right? I mean, what are you doing, right?
But they should have just made a basic kung fu movie with a little magic mysticism from the Ten Rings thrown in. Okay, cool. And then had a cameo from somebody else in the MCU to bring him in. Instead, they tried to. It seemed I haven't watched it, so this is just from what I've heard. They tried to make him a bigger deal than he should be, at least in his first outing, and that doesn't work because it just simply doesn't work. No matter how hard you try, it doesn't. They didn't do that with Iron Man. They didn't do that with Thor, a literal freaking god. They didn't do that with any of these guys. They gave them very down to earth, simple stories that could introduce them into the broader story that they were going to tell with Thanos.
Yeah.
This, it felt like, because they've upped the ante so far now, they don't want to try a smaller scale story because they're afraid it will just, well, everybody's expecting big. I don't think so. I think they could go down, chill out, tell a smaller story without world-ending stakes and crap, and just a personal story about a dude who gets mystical martial arts powers, and that would have been fine.
Yeah,
that would have been fine.
Yeah. Tank Ferret says they both, Black Widow and Shang-Chi, look like they were made for TV. That's another problem too. Yeah, low production value. But yeah, it would have been cool too if they had like a little cameo from Li Chang. I mean, he's looking much better now. He was kind of sick there for a while, but he looks better now. I'm sorry, Jet Li. And had him like give him a little guidance or something, because one thing I'm also understanding is this kid tried real hard to do the martial arts stuff, but it was clear that the people around him were holding him up. Having someone like a Li Chang, who's absolutely amazing.
It's the same thing Drinker said. That's crazy. That's the exact same thing he said. He said watching some of the fights, not all of them, but some of them, it looked like the younger guys in the Star had to slow down because these other guys just couldn't keep up.
Yeah,
they just didn't have that athleticism or whatever, or just enough practice at it or whatever to keep up with him because he's actually pretty decent at the martial arts.
Yeah,
aspect of it.
That's good. Yeah. But anyway, poor little Asians, right? Poor little Asians. Let's move on here. Now, this is the Aquafina, whatever the hell her name's supposed to be. Now, here's the thing: this girl is more of an eyesore and a trouble sink than he is. Right? Because she does blackface and she's pissed the black people off. Of course, we all understand that the black community in America has become so precious. They're special little things, right? But beyond that, and I'm talking about a very specific type of black community. You guys know that. However, this right here, I'm not going to play it, of course, I'll get a hit. But once again, we have another so-called female comedian joking about their vagina. Now, why is it that every damn female comedian these days has to joke about the vagina? I guess they say you do what you know, I suppose. But it's not funny. It's not even a little bit funny. It could be funny if it was done right, but it ain't funny. I've seen funny ladies in my life. Unfortunately, I got to go all the way back to Carol Burnett, Vicki Lawrence, Roseanne Barr. They're definitely funny. I don't recall them joking about their smelly vaginas or things coming out of their vaginas. Do you? Roseanne, maybe. But I don't understand why every damn thing. My wife watches this stupid ass show on Netflix called Modern Love. Right?
Oh God!
And some of the episodes are okay. It's a women's show. It's all right. It's made for women. It's not for me. That's fine. And some of them are okay. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all from a very feminist point of view. The men always do the right thing, and the women get freedom, of course. But whatever. It's a women fantasy thing. It's fine. But some of them are okay, and some of them are bad. Right? And she watched one the other day. That had this black girl that was in love with this boy her entire life, and they finally hooked up. And he was like, I don't want to do this. We're just friends, right? I love you as my friend. You're my best friend. And of course, it pissed her off. So she went and became a comedian, and she got up on stage and became famous because she would talk about her vagina. And none of the jokes were funny. Now, fair enough. That's Netflix. Right, you don't expect much, but this right here is supposed to be a professional comedian, and if you go watch this video, ain't a stitch of funny in it, not one stitch.
Not even a stitch.
Not even one, dude.
Oh, that's terrible. When you can't even get a stitch, that's just not even a snicker.
Not even.
Nope. What about a doodle?
No. Someone help me out.
That's horrid. No, I don't understand it either. I don't
Grimlock has an
understand this.
opinion. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
I would help you, but there is no help with Aquafina. I mean, she's like this horrible stereotype that, like her grandmother runs the bodega and she's always complaining about the African folks who keep coming in her store.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm like, oh my God, her name is like, I'm like, dude, lady, I don't know about you, but if I were you, I would not go into that neighborhood during the daytime with that name. I would rather wear a big crown and a shirt that says "I am king of the N-words." It would be safer for me than you, young lady. You're not funny.
Tank.
Yeah, your vagina does stink.
It does. Yeah. Hi, Tank.
Like, that was actually legitimately funnier than
How you
anything.
doing, brother?
Anything she's ever done, right there. That was good.
Yeah. Well, no, Magazine Joshua, we talked about this before. Female comedians have an uphill battle. They do. Because we're taught as children that to respect the mother, to hold up the mother. Our whole society, our whole race is based upon the mother, right? That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't laugh at mom. So women have this negative uphill battle anyway. Not fair, but shit, that's life, right? However, you can't. They keep putting these female comedians in front of us because they're damned if we won't laugh at them. And all they seem to be capable of doing is talking about their vaginas. And it's like, dude. I mean, how many comedians get up there and talk about their stinky deck? I mean, I'm sure there's a couple.
Oh, that's considered like frat boy comedy, right? It's not. And not that there's anything wrong with it. If it's funny, it's funny. That's all that matters. But that's what that's considered. Whereas most male comedians, or not most, but a lot, stay away from that, right? They go into more just whatever. There's differing styles of comedy. I don't understand why. I genuinely don't understand why so many of these young women who get up here, their jokes revolve almost entirely around either sex or their sexual organs.
Yeah, and in this video, she keeps pulling weird shit out of this woman's vagina in this, and she thinks it's funny. Yeah. It's not funny. It's not.
There are some funny women, like you listed off some of them, and I've even seen some YouTube chicks who are actually pretty funny.
I'm sure
I can't remember any other names, but they exist. I've seen them. I've seen their videos, but it's never any of these Hollywood chosen ones ever, ever.
And to be fair, there's only been a couple of ladies that made me belly laugh. It's usually a chuckle, but okay, fine. Yeah. But I really think it's the ingrained thing in our DNA. You don't laugh at mom. I really think that's a big, huge problem for women to overcome. And it's not fair. I get it's not fair. It just is what it is, though. Life isn't fair. It's just the reality. Because even with Carol Burnett, who is absolutely hilarious, it really... When she's by herself, not as much. When she had Harvey Korman and Vicki Lawrence and who's the other guy? The guy was hilarious. Tim. Oh, I can't remember his name. But
I know who you're talking about too, and it's bugging me.
Yeah, it is bugging me. But that group, that troupe she was with, they were hilarious. It was a really solid team.
I think women comedians are better in a scripted format. And now what I mean by that is stand-up just isn't really their gig. Not usually. There's exceptions, of course, because there's exceptions to everything.
Roseanne usually, was pretty funny.
Yeah, Roseanne was hilarious. She was raunchy, but she was really funny. I think a good example is The Golden Girls, the show The Golden Girls. Yeah. I love that show. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Wanda Sykes can be funny before she lost her damn mind.
Yeah, she did lose her mind.
Phyllis Dillard.
Phyllis was more of a entertainment.
Yeah, Tim Conway. That's right, Tim Conway.
Tim Conway. I knew it too. I was like, what's his name?
He was the glue, baby. But anyway, I'm just saying that poor little Asians. Poor little Asians.
Oh, it's all manufactured.
Fuck them.
Thanks, Grimlock.
And there's even
since you summoned me,
yes, sir.
And I had to jump in, and Chester, you may not believe this, but I agree with the black people on this when it comes to Aquafina.
Yeah.
I might get your channel bumped, but I am
Oh,
so
okay.
sick and tired.
Don't do that.
I am personally so sick and tired of non-black people doing the nigga shit.
Yeah,
I
me
am
too.
Yeah.
so sick and tired of it.
Oh,
I'm
dude.
sick of I'm
It's-
sick
Is
of
that-
hearing.
is
I'm
that a
sick of
challenge?
hearing.
I'll take that
2020.
challenge. I'll go full wigger on your ass.
Oh
I
God,
will.
no! Please,
I will.
please, 50-year-old man, please, for God's sake. I am
51,
so
sir.
personally. I am personally tired of listening to people who are not Southerners or black use the term y'all. Stop it.
Yeah, I actually
I will-
broke
well,
myself of that.
I will say this: in New York, we said that all the time because look, we have a lot of black people in New York that just fuck the English language. Okay,
Yeah.
we
Well-
we made slangs based on dudes with speech impediments.
That's
So-
true. That is true.
Can you
Wait,
blame them? The language is dressed provocatively. Okay.
it was. It was.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
guys, I'm gonna talk like this the rest of the stream because my wife said I'm really loud for no reason, and then she asked, "Do people on there say you're loud?" I'm like, "Yeah, they do." So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna talk
Yeah,
like this.
yeah. Tell her she's 100% right.
Thundaro.
But no, the thing is funny about that is the modern Ebonics is coming out of Southern slang, right?
Correct.
And the thing is, my dad's Southern, so I spent a good chunk of my childhood down in the South, and I had to break myself of saying y'all because it's inappropriate to my accent, right? So I stopped myself. But the thing is, it's interesting with the black community. It doesn't mean anything, I guess. It's not important, but most people, when they leave the South or outside of that culture, they adapt to wherever they are. But the black
Correct.
community never has. It doesn't matter where they are; they always keep that Southern drawl. And it's interesting to me why that is. You think? What do you think that is, Grimlock?
It depends because I know some people that they have an accent that just never left them. Like I have a friend who's Colombian and his accent is so thick that if he speaks with your mouth open, it gets stuck to the roof of your mouth.
Oh wow!
Um,
Holy shit, dude!
I like that.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We're talking about
um,
generations
yeah.
later, right? Literal
Yeah.
generations later, and they're still using a Southern drawl, even though they live in Chicago or Michigan or something.
No,
Right.
for real.
well,
my
it's,
dad.
it's
My dad hasn't lived in Texas. He's been living in Los Angeles for the larger part of 40 years.
Mhm.
He still says toilet paper.
Yeah, well,
toilet,
yeah.
Toilet paper.
toilet. I gotta get on the toilet. You know what I say? That's funny. I say roof instead of roof. I don't know why. I just
Yeah.
don't. And I say root instead of root.
See, I
I'm
broke
talking about
myself
Ripple.
of all these inadequacies long ago.
well, that's funny because when I moved to the South, that's the first time I ever heard actually people say the commode.
Commode,
So-
yeah. I haven't heard that in
Well-
a while, dude. Jeez.
Yeah, that's an oldie. That's an
Yeah.
oldie.
Commode.
Commode, yeah. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's unimportant. It's culture, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you're right. Aquafina is put her foot in it. And let's be fair. Back in the 80s, you had a lot of white boys, and I'm me making my joke, right? A lot of
Yeah,
white boys who tried to be the black guy. But keep in mind that during the 80s, hip hop was not a black people thing. It wasn't. It was everybody.
But-
It was an American thing. It wasn't until the 90s that it became a black people thing, right?
Well, also people forget that up until like maybe 20 years ago, that also used to be the running joke.
Yeah.
The white dude who wanted to be black.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yes.
And I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not to say that we didn't have white people in the ghetto because you did. If
Of course
I'll
you
put it
did.
like this: if you didn't know one white family in the hood, like I don't know if you was really in the hood then. So
My
Yeah.
family grew up in the hood.
Yeah, a lot of white people.
I lived in the
white people are
hood.
poor
Hey.
too. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
So-
And because the ghetto is impoverished. That's the problem with it, right? There's been plenty of people that have tried to help that, but they've hurt instead. Even though their intentions might have been good. However, it has moved on, and the Asians started getting in on the Latinos did their own thing. and they've always done their own thing. But the Asians started getting in on the being black or acting black or doing the black thing. They did, and it has continued unto today, and that's what she's part of. That's what's happening with her. But we've come to a point that the black community will not accept anybody in their culture anymore. They've locked it
But
down, and it's only them. So
well, see, it's not even that she's wanting to be black. It's that it's the whole stereotype. It's like
yeah,
every freaking racial stereotype you can check, she's checking.
yeah, because she's
It's
trying to
like,
be funny.
look, I like I said, I knew Asian kids growing up, and when the Wu-Tang Clan came out, you couldn't tell them little fuckers nothing.
Yeah, no,
But
that's true. But the Wu Tang Clan was
but
cool though, dude. They were cool now.
yeah,
Come on.
but I mean, but the Wu-Tang Clan was kind of a perfect thing for blacks and Asians back in the day because black people loved kung fu movies.
Oh yeah.
We would always
Oh yeah.
go, and you know, growing up in the Northeast, you wanted the good shit. You had to go to the Asian store. You couldn't go to you couldn't go to Blockbuster and get like the Shaw Brothers,
No,
Five Deadly
that's
Venoms,
right.
and things like that. No, you
No.
went to the little Asian dude on the
Oh,
corner.
Five Deadly
You know,
Venoms, man, that's good shit.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Five Fingers of Death,
yeah,
another one, dude.
Got my man
yes,
Pai
the
Mei.
36,
Yeah,
the
that's right,
36
dude.
Chambers of the Shaolin Monk. You didn't pick that up from Blockbuster.
No,
You
that's
went
true.
to
That's true. You had to go to a private thing. But
you went to you went
you
to the
did.
dude with his grandmother behind the register.
But no, you're
That's what you
absolutely
did.
right in that because you want to talk about cultural appropriation, which I think is nonsense. That's history. We call that history,
Should
by
be
the way.
appreciation,
It
but
should be appreciated, yeah. But
Yeah.
when I was in the '80s, I grew up around just the people around around me, right? And there were Italians, there were blacks, there were a couple of Asians, a few Latinos, right? And it didn't
yeah, we had
matter. We're
everybody.
just the people who lived there, right? But just to kind of break it down, I cannot remember going into a black person's house, one of my friends, and them not having Bruce Lee on the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and they're all about the kung fu, all about that stuff, all about that, and the Wu Tang Clan was just an amalgamation of it, really.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, I don't think there's any ethnic racial group that is a bigger stan, as the word is used on the internet, for anime than black folk. These young
It's
black
gone that
dudes.
way, huh? Yeah.
Oh man, they're
Freaking
nuts.
Dragon Ball and Naruto. God
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
gosh.
What's that kid that went to jail because but he got out early because he turned on his people and snitched him out. That guy's got the tattoos all over his face. What's his name?
Takeshi 69. Is that the
Yeah,
one you're talking about?
Takeshi
Yeah.
669. Yeah, that
that
guy.
clown.
Perfect example. He is a clown. But there's a whole bunch of them like that. But anyway, let's move on. But just to end up the poor little Asian section here.
Oh,
Yeah.
and,
Aw.
and to get back to the main guy who just can't shut the hell up.
Oh yeah. This
If he
idiot.
thinks
Yeah.
if he thinks the Pinnacle is getting beaten up by the main character, which dickhead, you are the main character.
Yeah.
This just goes to show me he's never been in a fight in his life.
Probably not.
Because there's no way in the world you could say something that stupid and be taken serious and be serious about it.
Yeah. You know what? A funny thing my dad said to me once I've never forgot because my father, he was recon 4 years in Vietnam, and then he
Yeah.
went back and worked for the Pentagon, right? And my dad spent a life in the field, killing people. That's his job. He's a shooter, right? But anyway, I started taking karate when I was pretty young, and I was pretty good at it. And I actually, a lot of the skills, especially the arm locks and control stuff, I learned from that. I used a lot as a bouncer. It actually translated for me in life, right? But my dad, because I can do as I like. I was going down to the I started out at the civic hall
Hey,
there.
Chester.
Kind of
Chester, did you say as a boxer you were doing arm locks?
as a bouncer.
Oh, I was like, that must have been a real short career. I don't
I
think
did
they let you do
boxing
arm
too.
locks.
I did boxing too. But anyway, I'm just saying it was actually useful for me. All the kicks and punches I didn't really use, but the arm locking stuff was very beneficial. But that's not the point. What I'm getting to is this: I went down to the city or the town hall and took kind of the almost free classes at first, and then I went to a actual dojo. But my dad kind of laughed and he was like, "You enjoying that sissy karate crap?" And I was like, "What?" And he laughed at it, and I was like, because my dad doesn't talk about this stuff. right? He's very, very. He doesn't talk much anyway, but he was very hush hush about all his military adventures. But he said, "Yeah, that kung fu crap is useless." And I'm like, "What?" I mean, because I used to watch Bruce Lee and Jackie on the TV all the time. He said, "Yeah, it's nonsense. I used to get in those little tunnels, and they come up trying to kung fu me, and I just grab them, and snack their neck up against the side of the wall." Like, okay, Dad. But it's funny because my father had zero respect for the kung fu shit.
Which is interesting because what they taught, what the U.S. military taught him, was kung fu shit.
No,
It
I
was all
think my
derived
dad.
from like judo and karate
Yeah.
and kung fu and all
Yeah.
this other stuff with some classic European fisticuffs and some classic European martial arts techniques. But yeah, it's got that sissy kung fu stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's his kung fu stuff. No, I see my dad working out when I was younger and stuff, and now that I'm older, I know what he was doing. He was doing that Israeli stuff.
Krav
oh,
Maga.
Yeah,
which is derived from kung fu.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. But it was just funny because that was his opinion on it, right? And you can't argue with him. Who knows how many people he's killed, right? But I just thought it was funny.
Dang.
It getting in the little Vietnamese tunnels, and they come up try to kung fu his ass, and he just grab a hold of him and snap their neck on the side of the wall. I mean, that's brutal.
Well, yeah, your brother's probably a monster, and these guys are like 5'4". Like,
Yeah,
it's not fair.
it's like child abuse.
I don't even know how he
That
fit
is
those
not
damn tunnels. To
bragging
be honest with
rights. I've beaten up many a 12-year-old I have.
It's like walking into a
Good on
cat
you, Dad.
shelter
Go
and
back to-
kicking them. And being,
Take your,
being-
take your pills, Dad. Go to bed, you psychopath. What are you-
He was
he was
psychopath.
waxing younglings before Anakin.
Yeah. He was. But I mean, that's his job, right? That's what they do. But I just thought it was funny because my dad has mentioned so few of his interactions, as a soldier, and that's one of the ones he just kind of came out with one day. Because I was all excited about my stuff. I was doing well. I probably just got a new belt, and I was all shiny about it. But anyway, moving on. My father is a scary person. Moving on. Here we go. Hey, Booster, go ahead, man.
Oh, hello, how we doing? Disney and Warner Bros. Donate to efforts to prevent recall of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is why. Chester, going back to what we were talking about originally about free speech, this is one of the reasons why ratifying the idea of free speech with no definition of what that means is dangerous, because then you can apply it to corporations who can meddle in your elections.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, Gavin Newsom, by every metric, is a horrible governor, right? Yeah, a failure on every level. There is literally no success.
Yeah, I actually have to give a disclaimer to your audience here, man. I voted for this, and I am actually eagerly wanting this governor to be recalled for a ton of reasons I don't want to get into. But this right here, this Citizens United nonsense, this is disgusting. Corporations aren't people.
Yeah,
Preach.
no, yeah, that's true. But it just goes to show you, Disney and Warner Brothers are putting money to keep this guy in there. Why? Why would you want this guy? It's the vast majority of people in California, no matter how whack they are or not, want this guy out because he's an utter failure. But yet Disney and Warner Brothers are putting money in to keep him in. Why? Why?
Oh,
Favors?
they probably owe him from when he was on the LA City Council.
Yeah, in San Francisco, he was the mayor of San Francisco too, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy's a
So,
train wreck.
It's for the same reason they went out of their way to help Joe Biden get in. It's who's part of the club. I you know what I find funny about politics the last 5 years? We've literally watched a George Carlin bit play out in real life,
Right.
and nobody seems to pick this up.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
When he told people that it's a big club and you ain't in it, we got to see what happens when somebody who's not in the big club gets in. That's why they reacted to Donald Trump the way that he did, because Trump thought he was in the club and he found out the hard way, nah, you ain't in either.
and he's right. Of course, you're not in it, and you can see that the rules are different, right? And it's interesting because they do mention here that the state of California still is keeping Disneyland closed, but yet they're giving money to the guy who's keeping it closed. I mean, it is
Yes.
interesting. What are they thinking? But it also shows you very clearly who they are. This is who they are. and it's shocking, I guess. But there's not much here. But I'm just saying that.
And they are scared to death of Larry Elder.
Well, because he's a reasonable person, right?
Oh,
I don't know
he's
how
not
good a
one of the
leader
approved-
he
he's
would
not-
be, though.
He's not one of the approved blacks, is what he is.
Yeah. It's not permitted.
No,
And
he's
as much
not.
and as
He's,
much
you know.
and
Yeah,
as
no,
much
they-
as they try to spin it like that, and if you ever want to know when they don't like a black person, they always will send a black woman to trash him,
Oh yeah.
just like they did with that LA Times article. That was a black woman that wrote that article.
Oh yeah.
It never effing fails.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I love the headline that said Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. You've been warned.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Wow.
he's not one of the approved ones. He's not like Charlemagne the God, who can talk on a radio show about raping a woman, but because he's one of the approved Negroes, he can actually be rewarded by getting a TV show
Yeah,
instead of
fuck
going to jail.
Charlemagne. Fuck Charlemagne, dude. Fuck that guy.
Oh yeah.
He's full of
Oh my
shit.
god.
But anyway, let's move on. Because there's not much
Where's
to
the
say here
booty
other than
warrior
there
when
it
you
is,
need him?
right? All right, here we go.
To quote Donald Trump, you know what woke means? It means you're a loser.
Yeah,
Everything woke turns to shit.
it does.
Woke
it's true.
Hollywood celebrities lose their minds on social media over passing of Texas Heartbeat Act. Holy fuck! I can't believe how much these people love abortion.
I know, dude.
They
They're
love
so,
it. They love
adoring of it.
to murder babies. They can't get enough of murdering babies. They don't want there to be any restrictions on when they're permitted to murder a baby. In fact, if we would allow them, they would just murder kids at will. They just go into nurseries and start taking them out. Because
yeah, that's true. Yeah, but
they're
I mean,
monsters.
they are monsters.
Monster.
But I love this, Thunder. Look at the picture. 2 gay guys in Meathead.
Oh.
It's anyone's guess which one's which.
You can go as you like. But of course, they're upset about this, and they're lying about it on TV regularly, saying that Texas has made abortion illegal. No, they have not. What they've done is
if
you
only.
can't have an abortion after 6 weeks. That's pretty
If
much
only.
it, right?
Heartbeat.
And it makes sense. If
It's
you can't
absurd.
make, if you
can
can't
still
make a
have your
choice
fucking abortion.
in a month and a half, then something's wrong with you, right? I'm sorry, Booster.
You
what were you saying?
psychopaths still have your fucking abortions, right? Seriously, these people changed me from a very a free, pro-choice kind of guy to a just full-on anti-abortion person because I just realized how fucking evil they are.
Yeah.
Because I was always like, yeah, of course, I'm not for it, but if you want to have your abortions, go ahead, is how I always felt. Then as I realized, wait a minute, they're just evil.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's that simple, isn't it? Alan
The
says,
way they go on about it, they can't even wait 6 months. They can't even have these reasonable little meet us fucking halfway kind of things. It's like, no, we have to have abortions all the time, anytime we want, or you're against women's health care. It's ridiculous.
it is.
6
but-
months to decide whether or not you don't want the fucking thing.
Well, it's 6
Flush
weeks.
it out.
But
6
you know,
weeks even. 6
Yeah.
weeks to decide if you want to flush the fucking thing.
They
out.
would rather it was 9 months. They've openly said, Hillary Clinton,
Yes.
right before the election, openly said, oh, she doesn't care if it's the day of birth.
yeah,
mother
yeah,
doesn't want to kill it.
No, it's true. Which
Like,
is straight up
Right at
murder.
that point.
But
Ugh.
the thing with it is, with
Evil.
this is they keep going on my body, my choice. Although vaccines certainly don't seem to apply that way.
That doesn't apply. Listen,
However,
listen, you can't apply their standards universally
No,
because
there are other
their
people's
standards,
bodies involved.
yeah, the
their
babies-
standards are universally stupid. That's
Yeah.
why you can't apply their standards on anywhere of a universal
Yeah.
level because there's no thought or depth put into them because their standard really is, when you break all down their nice fancy rhetoric, I want to do what I want to do, and if you try to stop me, you're a bad person.
Yeah,
Don't
That's
you
it.
dare stop me from being irresponsible. I want to be
Yeah.
irresponsible, damn it.
That's right.
That's it.
And Lady Celtic Mood is gotten spicy. Watch the fuck out, dude. Watch
Uh-oh.
out.
Yeah.
She's on the.
Spicy.
She's on. Yeah, watch out.
Oh Lord.
Hi, Booster.
Whew, I'm kind of flustered here. I'm fanning myself. Ooh, speak my language.
But whatever. I mean, this is dumb. There's nothing wrong with Texas doing what they want because, the states are sovereign unto themselves. This is something the Democrats have completely forgotten. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic with sovereign states.
You live in
Leave
what
the
do
other
you live in,
states alone.
Chester? You live in an empire. What are you talking
I
about?
do. I do. But I'm an American at heart. But the funny thing is, the Japanese do have a lot of socialistic leanings to them.
They
But
do.
they're also ultra capitalists,
Yeah.
and it just seems to work. I don't know what to tell you.
And they also have a mostly sane government that does sane things for sane reasons because they're run by adults.
Oh, well,
You
that
see-
is true. The government here is 100% in favor of the Japanese people. That is true.
Yeah. What's that
So-
like? That must be
Je-
nice.
Chester, just for a bit of contrast,
Yeah.
I mean, since you are in another country and it is a different culture and everything, what is their take on this subject?
On abortion.
Yeah.
It's an extremely sad thing, and but thank God we have the medical ability to do it when it's necessary.
Okay.
My
That sounds interesting. Well, because infanticide has been a part of Japanese history for a long time, and
It
it's always
has.
had like some. It's
Yeah.
it's had this mystery about it, this mysticism, this magicalness about it. That even when, and it's always been like it presented like, look, this is your last resort. This is if you cannot care for the child and you cannot find someone to care for the child, then, especially during the Heian period.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
Japan, it was big. It was really big. But then again, there was a lot of starvation going on at the time, and a lot of overpopulating going on at the time.
Sure. Probably one of
But
the
anyway.
longest lasting aspects of that was with twins. If you'd have
Yeah.
twins, they would kill the second born. Although a lot tried to get away with it by sending one of the twins to another town or stuff like that. For a long time, the Japanese did kill the twin, even after that kind of horrible period. But you got to understand Japan, where Japan was at that time. However,
Mhm.
in modern times, not only is it completely gone, it bewilders the Japanese that they even ever did it. But no,
Yeah, it's not
Japanese are
easy.
very pro-life people in general. Abortion does exist here. It is used, but it's quiet and it's not something to stand up and wave a flag at. That's for damn sure.
All right,
So
I
no
have to
Japanese
read.
TikTokers
I
bragging.
have to
huh?
read
No,
Canada's
no.
comment here because Mr.
All right,
Captain
go for it.
Canada is hilarious,
He always
and
is.
he goes, "Change the picture. I don't like the way they're staring at me."
well, Takei-san is definitely got something up for you, Captain Canada. He definitely there.
Oh, come on. We both know Batista's had
Oh,
interactions with the penis besides his own.
You think
in
he's
his life.
gay too?
Oh,
You think
my.
Oh,
he's-
absolutely, he's
I
a
think he's
homosexual.
gay for pay.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's what they call bi, but only when there's money involved.
Huh. I
Uh,
never thought
yeah.
that.
He's
Yeah.
a bisexual. You have to buy him shit to get him sexual, huh?
And
No,
the-
fair enough.
Hey.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Go ahead.
What do we have here, my son? First Wheel of Time official teaser trailer is here. Release date announced.
Okay. Now,
Oh.
I'm curious with this one. Now, we know that Why the Last Man is being turned into a series, right? And instead of telling Yorick's story, which is what the whole comic is about, the whole series is about, they're
Yeah.
basically going into only women, yay, women hear me roar, right? And it looks like an absolute train wreck waiting to happen. However, Wheel of Time, it also has some very female centric ideas. And keep in mind, this book was what? Early 90s, the Wheel of Time came out. They've had a
Mhm.
ton of books. I don't know, a dozen or more. I read one of them. It was all right. But in these books, the only people that can use magic are women and only certain women. So there already is a female leaning in the Wheel of Time series. Whereas we saw in Why the Last Man, they went ultra feminist with it. I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with this. And if you look at this up here, it looks fine. I don't think there's any particular problems, although we definitely have this down here. You can't have a white redhead. There's a redhead in here, which is amazing, but you can't have a white
Wow.
boy with
How'd
a
they
white
sneak
girl.
him
You
in?
can't have that.
Don't worry, he'll be black by the end of the week.
He will be. He will be. They got this main lady here on the picture. Okay, fine. So more woman stuff. But once again, like I said, Wheel of Time.
Wait, but-
it is kind
Wait
of
a minute. The worst part about that take is I guarantee you that conversation has happened between an executive and somebody
Yes.
a diversity
You wanna
officer.
know what a Harry
Guarantee
Potter
it.
spell would sound like if you
Okay,
made someone
the sets
black.
look good though, but it looks like
You're
a
a
TV show.
negro. No, you're a negro.
Oh no!
The sets do look great, and the cinematography looked good, but at the same time, it looks like a TV show. So it's
Yeah.
like, Jesus, pick one. Yeah.
Well, here's
Um,
one of the problems. I've never read The Wheel of Time, and from what I can understand,
It's
I'm not
okay.
missing much
Yeah, it's okay.
because it's just super dense and not a lot happens. From what I understand, that's what people have said. I've seen reviews on it. Like it's a whole lot of talking and a whole lot, not like talking, but a lot of words.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of action. Not a lot of stuff's happening for the size of it because it's huge. It's a massive
Well, no,
series.
that would be true. That's true.
And my issue with this is the cinematography, like you said, looks pretty good. It does. It actually looks
does
good. The
look
sets look good. The costumes look good. Well, relatively good.
It looks like
Even
a
the
TV
special-
show. Yeah.
Even the special effects look good. Right. For a TV show, that's where all the money went. You know where the money didn't go then? Talent,
Probably.
directors, people who can write scripts. Because we've seen this now for at least a decade. We get these awesome looking films. Last Jedi looks amazing.
Yeah,
Looks
gorgeous.
amazing.
It's a visually gorgeous
Absolute
movie.
shit show. Absolute train wreck of a film.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
Because it's very pretentious people.
I think
Yeah,
this is what we're going to get out of Wheel of Time. I think it's going to look pretty good. You'll be like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And then you get in there and there's just, it's kind of like
Well,
if you have a pumpkin, right? You got a nice juicy pumpkin, looks
Ooh.
real good on the outside.
ew.
Then you open that sucker up and it's all black and moldy.
Ew.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
we're getting.
Well, they got one of every color, so they can click that box.
Yeah.
But which I don't really care about
Maybe.
the Wheel of Time. But it looks very. It looks like the special effects are pretty good, but it also feels CW to me.
Does look a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Here's
don't
what I
know,
want to
man.
see. We're talking about Amazon. Where in the hell is a trailer, a clip, a 10-second little blurb of the Lord of the Rings show
Oh, no,
that they've been
that's-
working on for like half a decade now and have spent $500 million, and we have nothing but a couple pictures to show for it.
Because they know they're gonna piss people off, dude. They know.
Oh,
that.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
bad, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad news.
But she looks like she should be standing in an executive office somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a weird mix because some of the special effect looks great, but at the same time, it really feels CW to me. I don't know. I know they're going to find a way to screw this up, even though it is very much a female-centric story. It really is, which is fine. But I know they're going to go too far with it. They got to go too far with it.
It's gonna be wokeisms everywhere. They already woked it up with all the race swapping for no reason. It's not going to get any better from this, and it's going to be a nice prelude to the plans for the Lord of the Rings stuff. That we know they're injecting a bunch of sexuality into it.
Oh, there's going to
um,
be black elves everywhere.
Black elves, because why wouldn't there be black elves?
And if they wanted to do the more ethnic thing, the non-European stuff, because it is an Anglo-Saxon mythology, right?
yes,
They do talk about the other peoples, to the people of the East. They are,
and you
in
could do
Tolkien's
anything
book.
with it, right?
Oh my God,
you could
yes.
play with that. You could
You
do you have the two wizards that are over there. I can't remember their names. You have them over there. You could do some cool, awesome
Blue.
shit. Yeah, the
Forget
two
their
blue
names.
wizards. What are their names? Damn it! But you have them
Even
over there.
Gandalf can't remember their names, but then again, that might be the
It's true.
halfling pipeweed doing
It
it. to his
probably
brain.
is. Yes, it probably.
Man, you could do really cool stuff over
You
there
could.
with like a Lord of the Rings world, but with like an Eastern vibe to it, and you
Oh,
could
for
have
real.
whatever race you want because why not?
Well, and they're serving
Saracens and
evil, and
Asians and
well, yeah, Middle Easterners, Africans, and
Yeah.
you could have, because they're serving evil, and maybe there's a group in there that's trying to fight against it or trying to escape it. There's a story
Yeah.
you could do, but
Yeah.
I don't understand why you take these Anglo-Saxon or Celtic or Germanic or Nordic stories or even Slavic ones and demand that they have they be diverse. If the same thing isn't happening, I guarantee you go down to Mexico, they're not representing the blacks very much. right?
No.
I guarantee you. You go to
Well, the other
Africa,
thing
I'm
with-
sure they're not representing the whites very much.
As
But they're-
somebody who occasionally watches Telemundo, I can tell you right now that the quote representation is sparse and
Yeah.
it's offensively stereotypical.
You know,
Oh yeah.
Even
Yeah.
to people who like that kind of stuff, it's like, whoa, no, ooh, no, ooh, no.
Might want to ease it back a bit, just a
Right.
bit.
well, I mean, and that's fine because it's their culture. Why can't they do what the hell they want to do? But
Sounds like I should be watching more Telemundo. I need some offense in my life.
yeah, I think you do. I think you do. But it's like
Yeah,
The Witcher,
Tickle Bitties
right?
over there too.
The Witcher is, of course, we know it's Moorcock's Elric. We know that. But all right, let's leave that alone and look at the Russian censor who stole it and wrote it for the Soviet people. All right, because that's what Witcher is, right?
And did it better.
And did it better if you think.
I just want to upset people.
Well, no, that's
Yeah,
fine. Witcher
I have
is more
noticed-
successful, isn't it?
that there's a lot of people. Not like Razorfist was the first. What I'm looking for, the first exposure I had to this. But there is like this subculture war between Elric and The Witcher for a lot of people on the internet, and they're really invested. Really invested, like
Well, yeah.
too much.
I
In fact,
understand
too
that.
much invested.
But the
Literally,
thing-
who cares?
Yeah, but who cares? But I mean,
Yes.
the rewrite by this guy was a Slavic one, right?
Yeah.
It's a Slavic take, and it's a Slavic character. So why did I get The Witcher come out with people from all over? That doesn't make sense. It's
No.
a Slavic story. I would make the same noise if we were doing some, Middle Eastern story, which there are tons of them, and I don't understand why Hollywood doesn't make more, because there's some really badass stories from the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
But if we threw a bunch of Vikings in there or what have you, right?
Jester, you know what Hollywood just heard you say? Oh, so you want us to remake Aladdin again? No,
No,
absolutely
No.
not. We don't want you to do that.
I just
No,
Aladdin's
please.
Chinese
No,
anyway.
please. Oh fuck! Don't give him ideas, Chester. Don't give him ideas.
the character Aladdin, right? Is the tale itself a Chinese tale, or is just the character?
The character and the tale is Chinese, yeah.
Oh yeah. Then why was it made to have like a Middle Eastern vibe?
Well,
Listen.
it came over during there's been multiple times the Silk Road has been open, right? And
Yes.
it just traveled back and forth, and they took it and made it their own, right? And that's fine.
Okay.
It's the same thing with the story of the unicorn, which is pretty interesting because long time ago, I mean, really long time ago, a Cometian king, Egyptian king, met with not at that time it wasn't unified China, it was one of the big kingdoms, and they had a meeting to discuss trade. I think it was probably mainly by boat at that time. However, during that meeting, the Chinese king, he gave a jade dresser, a wardrobe, to the Egyptian king, which is pretty cool. And the Egyptian king, they were exchanging gifts. And one of the gifts that the Egyptian king gave him were a bunch of giraffes, right? And like, oh, that's interesting. They took it back. They built a little zoo. They put the giraffes in there, but they died quickly because they didn't know how to keep care for them, right? But some of the people had seen it, and they were talking about it, and they were drawing pictures and stuff. And the story kind of moved around Asia of these mythical, weird creatures from the West. And they called them the Kirin, right? And here in Asia, the word Kirin means both the mythical dragon horse as well as giraffe, right? And then way later with the Romans, when the Silk Road opened again, that story came back over, and they started calling, because it has a single horn, they started using and calling it the unicorn, right? They already had a unicorn. It's a type of rhino, right? You have the unicorn and the bicorn, but it kind of became this fantasy creature. So the unicorn we have today, our image of it, is from that long, weird tale of miscommunication.
So what you're saying, it's all watered down cultural appropriation.
Yes,
Well, yeah, but
there you have it. Anyway, let's
Hey,
move on here.
history.
It's interesting,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah,
It's crazy.
it is crazy. Yeah. Oh, Booster.
what do we?
I love you,
What
Booster.
do we have there?
In
good
ultra
seeing you,
hetero
Jack.
way.
It's been a
Ultra
while,
hetero.
bro. I wasn't
Brother,
gonna say
I've
anything.
been
I don't wanna
spreading
stop
the ultra
talking.
hetero message. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
yes,
Hetero?
none of the gay shit like kissing girls.
Don't you
Oh.
give any of the hetero shit to our Booster.
Oh yuck!
Yeah,
Like
yuck. No,
kissing
oil
girls and
each other
rubbing
up,
their
you
boobies.
know,
Ooh.
special attention to the pecs.
Oh, they like it in
slap
their
on the
vagina. Ooh.
Oh, gross. I hear
Ugh,
this
My
anyway.
wife touches my butt all the time, Booster.
Anyway, fans question where the actual gameplay is in Marvel's Midnight Suns gameplay trailer. I've seen it, just
So did I.
It's you understand what kind of game they're making.
It's a mobile game.
It's like a fucking card game.
It's basically cutscene gaming, right?
Well,
Where the actual mechanics don't play into it, but they have these they have these cutscenes that are compressed in there. So when you do like your special move, it goes to this cutscene and it takes the figure that you're fighting against, it inserts them. It's all cheating, it's all wizardry, and it's cheap. By the way, it's cheap. This is what Tencent does.
Tank is what it is. It's and you look down the bottom. I went to this place in the trailer specifically because you look here. It says PS5, PS4, Xbox, Switch, Steam. This is a mobile game without question. It's got cutscenes. Fair enough. They look like crap. Right? It's actually all over the place. Sometimes it's okay looking, other times it's really bad. It's twitchy. It's a hot mess, is what it is. But this is a mobile game.
Why are the yellow lanterns?
Yeah, what?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Why are they yellow lanterns?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Yeah.
This bugs me.
Well, Booster.
It hurts.
It does. What do you think about the new mobile game for Marvel?
I remember thinking the trailer looked cool and that the Enter Sandman trailer was kind of cool. And then I saw the gameplay. I was like, oh, who gives a fuck? But look at this, though. They're planning on releasing this on the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the Steam. This is a full release. This is like a mobile game pretending to be a full release.
Yeah, and people are saying it's too late to add a combat and stuff like that. Dude, it's not. It's a card game. It's a mobile card game.
Yeah.
You have little cutscenes, then you sit in your combat, just like all the other Marvel mobile games that have come out that get boring after like literally 30 minutes of playing it. You got to sit there and you got to choose your cards. Fair enough. It might be interesting, but this isn't a game you should pay anything for, because I guarantee you're going to have to pay for packs. What they're doing is they're going the E3 direction with Madden and FIFA, and you're gonna have to spend tons of money on packs. So whenever this comes out, do not spend. Yeah, did I say something else?
You said E3.
That's the same shit. But EA, Electronic Arts, whatever they charge you for this, they're also going to charge you for packs. I guarantee you.
Yeah, no, it's pathetic.
They will nickel and dime you until you've spent over $1,000 on a video game.
Yeah.
A video game.
Card game, bro. Like, what is happening? Why does nobody get it yet? The reason people were hyped for the Avengers game when it first was being talked about is because we thought it was going to be basically an Avengers simulator, right? Like, you could go, go in, maybe even have a create a hero mode or something like that, which is what I want, and you could just basically exist in the Marvel Universe doing Marvel Universe stuff. That's what people were expecting. What we got was the Kamala Khan Chronicles with the Avengers on the side.
And it was boring. Which is sad.
I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand. They're clearly trying to make money with these games. Like, they're not filling them with a bunch of woke nonsense, at least not that I saw, besides Kamala Khan, but she's just annoying. So what is going on?
But they are trying to say, oh, look how popular these particular characters are, because look how many games they're in. Look at these games.
Yeah.
Well, my point is I think most people, even people like MCU fans, would like that are gamers, would like a game where they get to be in the MCU. They get to be in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
And just make a character and be an action RPG, or just an action game. It doesn't have to be an RPG. Just a cool action game where you can jump around and pick characters. Old school style game where you pick up a controller with your buddy or whatever, and they can just jump in at any time. Just this awesome superhero, like, beat 'em up game in that universe. And for some reason, what do we get? We get card games and whatever the hell the Avengers was.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they did something like Dragon Age, where you made your own character and you teamed up with some other players, even something like that would be better. But the
Yes.
thing that gets me, guys, is if you look at these tweets from these people, they don't get it, and it was obvious to me instantly when I looked at it. Look at this: it's too late to add a combat system before launch. You see what you got, dude. There is no combat system. It's a card system. Blake,
What are you expecting? Gameplay in your video game? What are
Right.
you, entitled?
I
Get
know,
out of
right?
here with that.
Blake says, "Do we move our units across the battlefield a la XCOM?" No, dude. No, it's a mobile game. Stop it. Would have hoped to see more gameplay from a game trailer, but at least there's a live stream next week, dude. You guys are not catching it.
You're wasting your time. If you're gonna watch that live stream with any source of optimism, you're better off taking your penis on a wooden table and hitting it with a hammer,
Oh no,
and it would be more pleasurable than watching that
I
live.
need my penis.
Yeah, that's something
Yeah,
I know, but
I'm
I'm
going
saying-
to
We're
catch
going,
to
you
it.
won't. Strap in, boys.
not if you're expecting anything good out of that coming
I
up.
just,
no.
I don't get it, man. It's right there. It's laying right,
Right
there.
there.
It's money on the table.
There it is.
Billions of dollars
Well,
potentially.
Well,
and they just
I
couldn't
go-
leave it.
I mean,
I
for
go
goodness,
back-
these are the guys who made fucking XCOM, right? That was a
Yeah.
massively successful series of games, the new XCOM games.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are they
Mhm.
doing?
I mean, they could.
What
Even
they're-
an
what they're told to
RTS would
do.
have been better, right? Even an RTS
Yep.
would have been better. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
But
kind of happy.
even with an RTS, look at the characters they picked. I mean, that whole group is just a freaking hodgepodge. It's like, well, let's put Tony Stark in this. Why? I mean,
'Cause
let's
everyone
put Captain
knows
Marvel in it.
Stark.
Why? Where would she
Because
fit in?
and she's the
something
dyked
like
up
that.
version, by the way, just so you know.
My favorite.
But even if we go back to that Marvel game from Gazillion, that was an isometric game. You still couldn't make
Yeah,
your own character, but
Marvel
even that
Heroes
was
No More.
better. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be honest. Marvel has shied away from the concept of creating their own characters since X-Men Destiny failed. No, and it's been 15 years. I think you could take another stab.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I mean, me personally, the Marvel universe is one of the few areas I legitimately don't care about having a creative player option
Yeah,
because
but
I would actually prefer to actually play the characters if they ever do them right. The problem is
No.
they don't even do the established
Well,
characters.
you could
right.
easily do both. Like, there's no
Right.
reason you can't do it. If freaking wrestling games, WWE games, have had creator wrestlers for 24 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason we can't have this, guys. There's no
This-
reason other than they
every-
just don't do it.
Every sports game has it. So like even if you don't want a created character, you at least have the option to do it, or just play with whichever character you want to play as. But they won't do it. But I mean, look at Marvel. The last 15 years is the last thing I ever agreed with that Cecil ever said. It's like, look, Marvel's had the best 10-year run that a comic company could ever ask for, and they completely fucked it up.
They did.
They should literally be printing so much money right now that they could wipe their ass with $100 bills and it not affect them. And they're not.
Oh, for real.
They're not.
There's so many storylines could have been properly recycled into the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they had a whole new universe to tell stories in. And no, they put out this woke character. They replaced the characters that they're trying to promote on the big screen, like that.
Yes.
That was a very dumb
The
idea.
fact
Jackie
that we had 10 years of the Avengers and that lineup that was in the MCU wasn't even in the Avengers comic that's being printed at the time during that period just lets you know how retarded the people who are actually running this thing actually are.
No, it's true.
Mhm.
And keep in mind that I want to catch a couple things here in the chat, but keep in mind that other isometric game that came out, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, those are pretty
Yeah.
good. Those are pretty good.
Yep.
Yes.
You give me that on a massive open world game. Just that top-down perspective or whatever. It doesn't have to necessarily be third or first person.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Especially if you get some really good graphics in there and you build some of the scenery up, and like Joe was saying over here, you can fly around as the guys who can fly and just take it in. One of the best superhero games ever made, still to this day, is this Spider-Man 2 game from 20 years ago. And the reason why is because you could just travel around New York and it was fun to do. Just travel around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, let me see what the chat has to say. Let's see. Joshua says they had a longer gameplay trailer. It's a turn-based RPG game. Some people like those games, but I don't. Okay. It's clearly a card game, though. This is a mobile game. You're welcome for putting up some gameplay, Roger says. Okay, fair enough. Probably going to be pay to win. Definitely going to be pay to win. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Enough said, Joe. Yeah, there you're right, Joe. I just want Marvel Future Revolution to come out on console. That was comedy.
That was
comedy.
to be honest, Chester,
Mhm.
it's a better looking mobile game than Midnight Suns, and it's an actual mobile game.
Yeah, no, the graphics in the trailer are pretty janky, dude.
I was going to say,
Very
Which the Midnight Suns?
this just reminds me of Clash of Champions. Speaking of Marvel mobile games.
Oh God, Mish.
Yeah.
Clash of Champions. Oh.
Yeah. No, a lot of those, they just get boring and they're just there to suck money out of you. And this is just the same thing. I don't know why it's going on consoles. It's clearly not what it's intended to be. But whatever. I've given up expecting anything fun from these people. Anyway, let's move on to the last one because I only got a few minutes left before I got to go. Oh, goodness gracious.
Disney moves forward with Reimagine Tomorrow campaign despite being exposed as part of a racist critical race theory movement.
All right.
Oh, good Lord.
Now, this is a training program from Disney Company. And it's ultra woke. And you can go read the article if you like, but this is the one that really got me. In the documents, Disney claims the murders of Breonna Taylor, Sean Reed, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Tony McDade, Nina Pop, Rashad Brooks, Adama Traore, and countless others. Well, there's not really countless others. You kind of covered almost all of them. Let's see. Countless others are part of a long history of systematic racism and transphobia. Well, first of all, Breonna Taylor was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
A lot of these guys here are actual just criminals. So, what are you doing, Disney?
Pandering. That's all.
I mean,
pandering.
for every one of them that actually you could make the case for, wrong place, wrong time, cops not doing their job properly in the case of the Sean Reed case where he was chasing the guy that robbed him and they just shot his ass instead.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, and I'm pretty sure somebody on Twitter is getting ready to take my black card again.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure.
But I wish they would just look. Not every time a black person dies is this travesty of justice that's brought up by stuff. No,
Evil police.
Can we agree on a couple of things? Can we agree that two things can be true at once? Can we agree that both Derek Chauvin and George Floyd were both pieces of shit and they both met in the perfect storm of pieces of shit?
It was just like a cyclone of poop, just all together at once.
Can we just agree on that? Can we just say, not every one of them was some innocent black dude feeding ducks at the park when some white dude just came up and said, nigger.
Pow.
Get him. Get him.
Well, you're sounding like a real coon right now, to be honest. I don't know.
All right.
Here's my question. I bet nobody on here, I don't even remember his name. Reggie might remember his name because I think he and I have talked about it before. But there was, right around the time when this stuff really got all hot, there was a legitimate case of cops being, I wouldn't say racist, just idiots.
Yeah.
As they do. And what it was there was this black guy who happened to work, he was like a nurse or something. He works with special needs kids.
With the special needs dudes down in Florida.
And he's literally laying on his back with his hands in the air because somebody called the cops on this special needs guy out in the street. He was like rolling around having a fit, right? Because, that kind of stuff happens sometimes. And this guy came over to try and calm him down and talk to him and get him off the street. And the cops showed up and pulled guns on him, and one of them shot him. They don't ever mention that guy. No, they only mention the ones who have, at best, questionable pasts. They don't mention the ones actually killing it, right? They don't mention the ones actually out there trying to do good in the world, trying to be a good force in the world. It was just literally in the wrong place at the wrong time trying to help somebody, and a trigger-happy cop hit him. He didn't die. The guy lived. But regardless, that would be,
bullshit.
you would think that would be a
did.
perfect narrative. You would think
They
that would fit
forgot it.
right into it, but they just, no,
They-
they don't. He's
Here's
too
a-
much of a
here's
good
another
guy.
good-
Can't have good guys.
Here's another good one they forgot about. The cop did get fired, but he should have went. I don't know if he went to jail, and if he is, he ain't going long enough. There was a guy in Columbia. He was at a black guy. He was at his gas station in Columbia, South Carolina. He's
Yeah.
already stopped. He's getting ready to put gas in his car. The cop had followed him and waited until the guy got to the pump and got out of his car to flash the blue lights.
Yeah.
Dickhead move number one. So the cop gets out of the car. He asks the guy for his paperwork. So the guy goes back to his car. Like, he literally turns around, goes in, reaches for his stuff. The cop just shoots him 6 times.
Jeez.
Well, one of the problems
God.
with that, though, is
I'm
a lot
like-
of these cops are terrified, and that's a big problem.
You don't need that job, cousin.
Yeah, you don't need that
Yeah.
job. They used to be tough.
I agree.
Right? But
I,
look at this comment here. Let me read this comment real quick because I think it's important. The documents also instruct white and non-black people, to examine and work through feelings of guilt, shame, and defensiveness to understand what is beneath them and what needs to be healed. Well, first of all, what is
Beneath
beneath
them?
me? What are you talking about?
Beneath,
Well,
beneath them.
no, this is my thing. So-called liberal progressives, right? They
White supremacists.
hate ethnic people. They hate them.
They
see
do.
them as less. They see them as not human, and they have to save them. They're first of all, if you think that they're beneath you, that's the problem, right? I don't have any feelings to work through. I don't have any guilt or shame or defensiveness. You clearly do. You clearly need the healing, right?
I would
But
have
these
to
kind
ask
of
them, what the
statements we
fuck
see
do they mean
constantly.
by that?
Well, they mean that,
Like-
the poor little black people are just these dumb monkeys that run around and don't know what they're doing, and they need to be taken care of a big old white man.
Pyro don't know
That's what it
nothing.
is.
You have to protect them.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. They're like, work through feelings of guilt, shame, and defensiveness. What's beneath them? I'm like, wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay, if it's beneath them, why are we discussing it?
Well, no, I think they mean the black people are beneath them.
Yeah, that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Well,
the point. They
that's-
really think that black people are this lower subset of humans that need protecting because they're so useless. That's who these progressives are. And if you look at everything they've been doing all along for centuries, that's what they do. And we see the results of their work. It's absolute disaster. The rest of us, we don't see
Disaster.
them as beneath them. We demand that they be equal. That actually is what you call equality. Because I don't care what
Okay.
color you are, you don't get to break the rules any more than I do.
I think
That's
they
right.
know that. Now that's why they started using the word equity.
Yes, no, you're
Well, equity, it's just communism. I mean, that's just what
Yeah, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just communist buzzwords. That's all that is. That's all this is. They're communists. They want communism. Their only god that they worship is communism. There's a sect of communism that we would call wokeism. And that's what this, I mean, that literally sounds like it came out of some Catholic church or some like hardcore, really heavy set, like evangelical church talking about how you need to work through your relationship with God. All they took out of there was God. Everything else, the shaming, the rhetoric, the style, the guilt, all of it's the exact same. All of it. The only thing that's taken from there is any mention of God, because their God is communism. And that's all they care about. That's all they worship. And the worst part is, some of them don't even really know it. They don't realize they're communists. It's the truth. They don't.
That's probably
But they
true.
are.
They're dumbass people. But
Yeah.
look at this one line item here. Proactively seek out black stories that reflect success, joy, or creativity. Black history and black experience are more than traumatic stories. Well, first of all,
why are you guys the ones who always approve the slave porn?
yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's also,
Fuck out of here with that bullshit.
well, yeah.
Can't get a
But what
John-
about
we can't-
all the
can't get a
black?
John Hen-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can't get a John Henry story yet, but we
Right.
still gotta
Yeah.
get a freaking slave movie.
Well, it's the same thing like I was talking about, where they only elevate the worst or the most questionable version. They don't go to the one who actually is a pillar of the community who has something bad happen to him, because that doesn't fit the narrative. Because
Right.
if he's a pillar of the community, well, he can't be oppressed. That's not how that works. It has to be somebody who has a record, because then you can spin it that it's just because the system's racist that he has a record, not because he's a
Right.
human piece of shit. No, racist. That's why.
Well,
Evil
yeah, but
system.
it's also Thundero. It's more about what about all the other black people who are living normal lives? The doctors, lawyers, engineers,
Listen.
architects. What about all those?
Listen.
Are their stories
Hey,
endemically
they don't-
traumatic?
They are the black face of white supremacy.
There it
you
is.
Racist.
There it is.
All right?
Yeah.
They're Larry Elder. They're Tommy Sotomayor's. They're our boy Reggie here. They're not allowed to exist without feeling guilty, or they're traitors. You see,
Yeah.
they've betrayed the cause, the movement.
Yeah. This is.
It's just tribalistic nonsense, and the fact that so many people fall for it today still shocks me. It speaks to Western senses of guilt and shame very, very well. It's very well done, but it's it's wrong. It's fundamentally wrong.
And what they're really doing, what these so-called progressives do, is they obfuscate the real issue here, and that is an escalation of a police state, which our president and vice president,
Correct.
both are architects
Architects of it is what he said.
of that
Yeah.
police state. I mean, yeah.
I had to look this up real quick because I actually remembered this. Here's a story that should have got more attention than it did, and this was actually done by ESPN of all people back when before they decided to go totally woke-tard, of the black NASCAR tech who was born without arms from South Carolina. That kind of story. Where's that movie?
Dude, I want to meet that person. That's incredible. That's awesome.
Sounds
Like
creepy.
no arms, and they're
Richie
a NASCAR
Parker.
mechanic.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
So what is he?
Where's
Range
my
That's a very
Rover?
biography?
important thing.
A&E.
It's cool because they show like the car he has designed because he actually drives himself, and he's not using prosthetic arms. Like he was like showed like the way he had the car set up to where he could operate it. It was pretty cool.
I'm
Something
sharing
very
Booster.
important.
Dude.
All right, so I watched the new Cinderella yesterday
Oh Lord,
the
why
boys.
Booster?
There's a new
because
Cinderella.
we wanted to watch something. Yeah, with the black gay fairy godmother, right?
I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we covered this, Chester.
Christ.
And James Corden is in this, and this was one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in my life. So I clipped it and put it on Twitter, and now I want to share it with you guys because I want you to feel my pain.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah, that was James Corden turning back into a mouse, and that was his head on a little mouse body as he transformed back, and his little feet are dangling. Because
Okay.
that's
That was almost as cringy as him dressed up in the mouse suit, thrusting his hip, promoting a children's movie on public.
Why do you do this to me,
What's up?
Booster? I mean, I thought we were friends.
Why do you go think something like that?
God. But anyway, there is what we
Well,
have
Booster,
for
remember, whenever you think you have no luck with ladies, just remember that twink is married.
Yeah, no, that's called a beard. I had to bring you up on modern 70s lingo. But anyway, thank you all very much for coming in. Interesting conversations today. A lot of just silly ass dumb people showing their L's live. That's what that is. And it's shocking to me how incorrigible the world has become. Shame is completely gone without question. They don't care if they lie or they're ignorant. There's no There's no self-awareness going on in these so-called elite areas of the world, and it's become, I don't know what the word is, unbearable maybe, but I don't think I've ever prayed for the apocalypse more than now.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, let's go ahead and try to get some final comments. Booster, give some love to the people, puppies and kitties.
You know what God did to the dinosaurs? I want him to do that to me. Namaste.
Namaste. Tank.
Beware the fembot-apocalypse. It's real.
Oh yeah. Well, Elon Musk is bringing in bots a year from now. You're going to be able to buy them. When are people going to
That's
realize?
slow-mo. You can get them right now.
I know, right?
Chester, you can get them right now on Indiegogo.
That's fair. Well, here's the thing, Tank. When are people going to realize that Elon Musk is a freaking lying piece of shit grifter? When's that going to happen? Because
Dude, he's just Thomas Edison 2.0. Like, he does the exact same stuff that Thomas Edison did. He's very
yeah, but see, Thomas, I get your
litigious, and
comparison.
he gives no.
You're roboting pretty bad, Tank. I get your point of the Thomas Edison reference. He did do that. He prospered off the work of others.
Thomas,
Sure.
I'm gonna jump in real quick. Thomas Edison was a human piece of shit, but continue.
However, he was far more successful at being a human piece of shit than Elon Musk. Elon Musk has put forward so many things and has done nothing. He's done.
Yeah, but
nothing.
he may have done nothing, but he's got more money than God. So, who's the sucker?
Well, we are. We are. Yes. But anyway, I don't want to stick on that too much. But go ahead, Grimlock.
I have this to say. If any politician in your lifetime comes to you with an argument that American citizens do not need guns, you respond to them that you should be allowed as much access to weapons by the American government as they allowed to the fucking Taliban.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because my tax money went to that, and I don't have a fucking Black Hawk. My birthday's in 3 weeks. Where the fuck is my Black Hawk, you motherfuckers? I demand a Black Hawk on my motherfucking lawn.
Listen,
the Taliban can have it. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And if there's not one out there on my birthday, I'm shooting a congressman.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. I love everything you're saying right now. I'm all for Black Hawk reparations. Let's get that done.
Yes.
Yes.
Every American should have a Black Hawk or access to a Black Hawk.
Yes.
That should be reparations for the blacks. Hashtag Black Hawks for the
Yes.
blacks.
Yeah, there you go.
Black Hawks for the blacks, and we demand upfront parking for our Black Hawks.
Now wait a minute.
No, come on now.
Oh, Donkey!
Oh my. Oh shit! All right, Thunder, take us out of here, man.
I have a very simple little phrase to tell everybody. A little kind of almost a poem I wrote. There are 3 hills everyone should see before they die: the one they live on, the one they'll die on, and the one they'll fight on. Choose your hills. Look for them, and that's about it.
Fair enough. I want mine with a
Namaste.
vineyard. Namaste.
Oh, I'm gonna stay on a hill for these wicked wings. Yeah, boy.
My mind.
Namaste.
Oh God, that was good.